Hello and welcome to the Kinda Queer podcast, a podcast hosted by a couple of kinda queer folks. My name is Ryan, I use he, they pronouns, and I'm pansexual, but we'll get to that later.
I am Maddie. I am a cis asexual lady.
Nice, wonderful.
And possibly aromantic, and we'll get into that also.
Yes. So one of the main points of this episode, or I assume will be one of the main points, is that both of us are questioning our sexuality a little bit, and we're certainly going to talk about that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're both like, am I this? I don't know. We'll figure it out, maybe, eventually.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be wild if we figured it out together during this podcast?
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be pretty revolutionary, I feel like.
Yeah, well, maybe this is exactly what both of us needed, and we are secretly on Dr. Phil right now, and this is going to help us tremendously.
Oh, wow. What a dream.
Exactly. I've always dreamt of meeting the mustache man himself.
Yes.
So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is kind of talk about the things that we do know, or at least that you know. And so you know that you are at least asexual, right?
Yes. I'm pretty positive of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've made it through 21, almost 22 years of life of never wanting to have sex. So I feel like that's pretty conclusive.
Yeah, I'd say that usually is a good sign.
Yeah.
So basically, I want to know, did you, like, growing up know what asexual was, or did you have any idea that you might be asexual, or is that something that you kind of discovered later on?
I definitely didn't know that was a term that existed. I think still, like, a lot of people don't, even people in the queer community.
Yeah.
But I learned about it through Tumblr.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
So many people do. And it was like, I think, like, someone made, like, an OC, like, you know how art people, they create, like, like, their own characters for whatever. Like, someone on Tumblr made an asexual OC character, and I was like, what's that? And I searched it up, and I was just kind of immediately like, oh yeah, that's me. Yep. And I never, like, I didn't think about it before, because when you're a child, you don't think about sex, really.
Yeah.
You just think about, like, ooh, I have a crush on Chad.
Yeah, we all love Chad.
But, like, you don't think about, like, the thing, like, specifically about asexuality that's kind of special from other sexualities, as that it's, like, kind of explicitly about sex.
Yes.
Which is kind of interesting. So, like, it's, like, children don't really think about that. But, yeah, once I saw the definition, I was just like, yep. And it's been true ever since.
Do you remember roughly when that was?
That was, I think, 6th grade, 7th grade, middle school.
Yeah, so that
where
was
everything happens.
Yeah, exactly. Everything happens in middle school. Everything is thrown into chaos, and you just get to experience life wondering what the fuck is happening to me. I don't know what's going on.
Middle school is really when life begins, I think.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Middle school is when you are thrown into the hard part of life. You're not just a wee little baby getting whatever you need from mommy and daddy or your guardians or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun time for sure. But yeah, I find it funny that, like, you found that through Tumblr, because one of my first experiences of, like, realizing that I was, like, at least partially gay was through Tumblr, because I was like, oh, okay, so this is, like, a thing. Wow. And I would see a lot of gay art, and I'd be like, ooh, nice cock.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I guess once you saw, like, that OC, you were kind of like, yeah, that fits me.
Yeah, which I feel like that's kind of rare for like a lot of ace people to just immediately be so sure about that. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it just felt so correct.
Mm-hmm. I kind of had like a similar thing where for a long time I didn't really know like who I was attracted to specifically, and
Mm.
then once I heard about the term pansexual, I was like, oh,
Like, oh, that.
I was like that fits me pretty well, and yeah, that was I don't know, it was pretty epic if I may say so myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Epic gamer moment.
yeah, but you brought it up how like it's kind of unique how asexuality is like one of the like few terms or at least like more broad terms within like the queer community that is very specifically about actual sex and sexuality, because
Yeah.
like we all talk about sexuality, but I think what's interesting is that even though sex is literally in the name sexuality, a lot of people don't really like they equate that to like romantic attraction. um
Yes.
but I think that definitely like originally, and it's I mean words take their own meanings in society and whatnot, but
Hmm.
sexuality was originally used to like actively define sexual acts, that like that's
Yeah.
it's in the name. And so I find it interesting how like especially amongst like the queer community, like that's kind of been erased a little bit, I want to say,
Yeah.
because now like we would use like the term pan romantic, which is probably more what I am instead of pansexual. But I don't know, I think it's just interesting, and I wish that the queer community as a whole kind of understood that more.
Yeah. Like the separation between romantic attraction and sexual attraction and platonic attraction and aesthetic attraction. Like it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have all different things and combinations of those things, which makes it all the more confusing,
Oh yeah,
which is awesome.
which is a fun little side effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the more you get into it, the more confusing it is, which, you know, is probably why it's not as known about, because when you're first realizing that you're queer in some way or part of the LGBTQIA plus community, you're like,
yeah.
I'm fucking confused. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening. I just want a simple answer to help me understand.
Yeah. Please tell me. Someone, I've just been saying, I need to go to therapy so bad. I just want to like, I just want to like talk at someone who's like impartial and be like,
Uh-huh.
can you crawl into my little confused brain and tell me what the fuck I am? Because I'm kind of sick of it. I
Yeah,
would like to know.
I want a little gremlin therapist the size of a pea to crawl into my
Yeah.
ear and crawl into my brain and start like looking, pulling out like all the documents hidden away in my brain and be like,
Yeah.
ah, yes, interesting. Oh, that's a little weird. All right, we're going to put that away for later.
Yeah.
Um,
According to the evidence, you are this.
that would be so helpful.
And it's also hard because, like, you can only experience your own feelings. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what everyone else is feeling in comparison
Yeah.
to that. So if you're like, is what I'm feeling, is it different than what other people are feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, is everyone feeling the same thing, so I'm not special at all? Or like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's always difficult because like we can, as humans we can empathize, but honestly, I don't know if like if you can ever truly empathize, because you can never truly feel what someone else is feeling,
Yeah.
which
You can't get in there.
yeah, you can't get in there. You can't like jump into their skin and say, I'm you now. Oh, interesting. It feels the same or it feels different, which would be very helpful. I think
Would.
just not even for the queer community, for literally everyone. If you could
For
just
anyone.
yeah, just be like, "Hey, here's how I'm feeling. You want to feel it so you can understand?"
Yeah, there's so many people lacking in empathy as it is. So like,
Uh-huh.
so I feel like that would be useful if we could do that. But
Yeah, that would be I wish we could bring that upon this earth. Be like, "Here,
mhm.
please do this." That would be
Yeah,
great.
so all the homophobic people can be like, "Oh, you are people." Oh, oh, what is that?
Oh, you are a human being with real
Shit.
feelings. Damn.
Damn. I've been a dick this whole time.
I agree. That would be
Hmm.
great. I get so. Did you have any sort of confusion or questioning before you saw that Tumblr OC that kind of made you realize, were you confused at all? I know as a kid, you were talking about, you don't really think about sex, but was there did you hear any of your friends talking about it or whatever, and then you're like, I don't know.
Well, I didn't really have any friends until like seventh grade. Like I was very sheltered in general,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, you've been to my childhood house, you know it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yes,
Like
true.
it's yeah, so and I went to a tiny little elementary school. There was 14 people total in my
What?
grade.
Oh my god.
So and everyone else just kind of paired up with other people and then I was just there.
The introvert conundrum.
Well, that's the thing. I was loud as fuck when I was young. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't know what happened because I'm definitely very introverted now, but when I was little, I didn't give a fuck. I walked up to anyone
Mm-hmm.
and was just like, "Hi, I'm Maddie. I want to be friends." And they were like, "Who are you?"
You're like, who are you? Gross. Ew.
Yeah. Ew. But I don't know. I was vibing for a while and I was just drawing in the corner and I was chilling and then one day I realized oh, I don't really have a best friend, huh? Shit.
Uh-huh.
But then I
Shit.
found Allie later, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Allie. She's
Shout
been
out
on
to
the
Allie. She's been on the podcast. You can go listen to that episode if you want, but only do so after finishing this one. All right.
Yeah. But do go listen to it.
But do go listen to it. And while you're at it, listen to all the other.
Yeah, and while you're at it, listen to every other single one. I
Yes.
have. So
Hey, we got a real one. We got a real one with us today.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a childhood best friend, but that was about all. And we didn't go to the same school. And even as a kid,
Mm.
I was pretty introverted. I always get a lot of anxiety when it comes to talking to people, which you wouldn't guess by the fact that I'm doing this podcast at all.
No.
But I do get a lot of anxiety, especially in person.
In person, it's so much harder.
It is. When you can't see the person, it's great, I can talk.
Yeah.
Easy. One of my first experiences where I truly realized that was at one of the cast parties, and I was I didn't talk to anyone, or I barely talked to anyone. I was
Yeah.
and then the lights went
Um,
out, and I had a really deep conversation with people. I was oh, yeah, it's just,
this is
it's,
the key.
this is the social anxiety speaking. Just turn off the lights.
Yeah, as long as I'm not being perceived, then it's fine.
Yeah, just please, dear God, don't perceive
Please,
me.
please never perceive me. Please and thank you.
Never ever perceive me, and we'll be fine. We'll be great.
The theater group is also especially intimidating, though.
Yes, it
'Cause
is.
everyone is loud. So,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, everyone in theater is loud. Well, not everyone, but most people are. And they're the ones that you really notice. And you're oh,
Yeah.
oh boy.
Yeah. Well, theater, it's either full of, absolute social butterflies or, depressed, anxious queer people.
Yeah.
So, it's a good mix, I feel.
Yeah, it's a great mix. It really, honestly, I think it does actually kind of work out because you have the social butterflies that can help ease the the queer depressed kids into it.
Yeah. Makes them come out of your shell a little bit.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, every introvert needs their extrovert friend to help them.
Hmm.
That's something I've realized later in life. I'm oh, that's what
Yeah.
I've needed this whole time. But yeah, no, I grew up with one close friend, and they didn't go to the same school as me. And then tragically, after pretty much several months after my mom died, they're we just they just kind of separated all connection. I was oh.
Oh, what the fuck, man?
I was interesting.
Now? Of
Yeah.
all times?
So I was just kind of I don't really blame my actual childhood friend that much. I mostly think it was the parents, probably. But you know, like
Mm.
still, like at the time I was like, oh, so now,
Yeah, it still sucks.
yeah, now I'm like alone and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with my life right now.
Yeah. I had a friend who like she lived like literally directly across the street from me, my
Mhm.
only neighbor pretty
Mhm.
much. But she was a bad influence and she would get me in trouble all the time. And so like in the second grade, I like broke up with her and I called her on the phone and I was like, "We can't be friends anymore." And then I like hung up and then I was like, "Wait, she was kind of all I had." Shit. So,
uh,
um,
I love
she's
that.
cool now though. She's like really nice and she's like I think like living in Sweden or something,
Oh hell yeah!
living her life. So, shout out to her. But
Shout out to her and anyone listening from Sweden.
yeah,
I don't know if anyone is, but if you are,
I
that's
don't
pretty
know. That'd
cool.
be pretty cool.
I do have several international listeners, so you know,
Really?
I do, yeah.
Damn.
Spotify gives me the statistics, and I see like a bunch of different countries. It's not a lot of people from them, but they are there. So you
Oh,
know,
cool.
I'll take it. It's just I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Going international.
It's true. Based on geographic region, I'm actually looking at it now because it's interesting to talk about. The U.S. is number one, makes sense. Number
Mm-hmm.
two is Brazil, at
Oh,
13% of my viewership. I would not have
wow.
guessed that.
Yeah, that's so surprising.
And then it's Germany, Canada, the Netherlands, the UK. Oh, we have Norway is in there. Wow, yeah.
So we got some Scandinavian folks.
Yeah. Even even someone from the Czech Republic.
Damn, I that's so interesting that like Brazil is number two. I would
Yeah,
expect it to be like US, Canada, UK, and
right?
then like other countries.
Yeah. No, I would
That's
have
cool.
expected that too, but for some reason Brazil's number 2, so thank you Brazil. I
Thanks, Brazil.
appreciate that. Super cool.
Yeah.
And I know from taking classes that Brazil is, I mean, it's because Brazil you have like fucking what's the parade that happens there? The very gay parade that happens there. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I'm kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And like because of that, people tend to think that Brazil is like really good queer rights, but they're actually surprisingly not that great about it. So I hope
Hmm.
you're all doing good, Brazil.
Hope you're all okay.
I hope you're all okay and doing great. I love
Love
you.
you.
So I guess trying to get back on the topic, though
Yeah, that got derailed. Sorry.
I love I love going off topic though. It's one of my favorite things. So after you kind of like figure out that you were ace, what kind of like mentality did you have going forward? Like what were you thinking about after that point, or like what did you think like going into like relationships at all? Like did you have any sort of strange feelings? What was that like?
I was very scared to
Mhm.
enter relationships because I felt like it was kind of my responsibility to like before anything starts, I have to say like, "Hey, just so you know, if we start dating and we end up dating for a while,
Mhm.
we're not going to have sex that whole time."
Uh-huh.
So like don't have your hopes up for that.
Uh-huh.
Hope that's okay. You still want to date me though? And I would understand if they said no because that's an important part of relationships for
Mhm.
like most people on this earth.
Yeah.
So it was a little spooky.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was really like right in the beginning when I found that out, I was like super pumped about it. And I was like, I told a few people
Mhm.
and with mixed responses.
As usually happens, uh-huh.
There was one that was it just sucked because like and then this kind of killed it and I stopped telling people unless I had to.
Uh-huh.
I told my pediatrician, like
Oh.
my doctor,
Uh-huh.
and like I don't know why, but I was just kind of like testing the waters, I think.
Uh-huh.
But like, you know how they ask like have you been sexually active or whatever?
Yeah, I
And
love
so
that.
like she asked me that. And I was like, "Actually, I'm asexual, so you don't have to worry about that."
Uh-huh.
And then as her response, she literally like giggled
Uh.
and was like, "Oh, you kids today are so funny." And
You're
then she gave me like a whole long spiel about how like we're all sexual beings and
Uh-huh.
like it's fine if you don't want to have sex now, but like it happens to everyone and it's natural and you're only young. And I was just like, okay, you're like a medical professional, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Uh-huh.
I know that it's not like a lot of people, especially like anyone basically like over 30, like don't know the term asexual, but she could have asked.
Mm-hmm.
She could have been like, what does that mean? But instead, she just did that.
Yeah, plus I'm judging for I feel like from her reaction, she knew what at least roughly what you were saying and talking about.
Yeah.
And then she was like, actually you're not.
Actually, you're not. No one can be. That
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
it's true. None of this exists. It's all fake. That's a horrible response,
Yeah, it sucks.
especially coming from like an adult medical professional where it's like
Yeah.
you would hope that they would be like, all right, and you do you want to talk about that, do you need to know anything about that, but instead they're like, no, that's not real, so
No.
you need to feel self-conscious about yourself now.
Yeah. Like the most invalidating situation ever
Uh-huh.
coming from like a medical professional adult.
Yeah.
It was just like, I was just like, damn, okay.
So after that you kind of stopped doing it as much. um
Mhm.
and it took away your feelings of pride, I'm assuming, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
And then so then moving forward after that, how did you feel?
Oh, I felt great.
Yeah, of
No.
course.
But yeah, I was just like insecure. I knew that I was that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, it just felt shitty, especially because like she was so nice too.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's still my doctor. So
Oh.
and like yeah, and I haven't brought it up again to her. But yeah, I was like I knew I was that. It just felt shitty because like
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that I would get a better response from her because she was so nice.
Yeah.
And she's very like body positivity
Mm-hmm.
always. So I was like, she seems like a progressive kind of person. I don't
Yeah.
know. But nope.
Nope.
Um yeah, I didn't really have any like relationship conquests until sophomore year
Mm-hmm.
with your friend, our
Mm-hmm.
friend.
Uh-huh.
And that was fine because he was respectful and nice.
Did you like feel in any way like you had to like be in a relationship at all? Because like society kind of pressures you, like you're always like, oh, when are you gonna get a boyfriend or girlfriend, or when are you gonna have kids, when are you gonna get married, you know?
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
think that you kind of felt pressured into wanting or like being in a relationship at all?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I joined Tinder when I was like 15
Uh-huh.
because before Tinder didn't have any age restrictions, which like why? But they changed that so it's 18 and up now, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't before. And like I had on that profile that I was ace
Mm-hmm.
and like none of those responses were good.
Oh, I'm
Like
sure.
and also my age range was like up to 17.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was just only people who swiped on me to like basically berate me about what the fuck that meant. And then
Yeah.
I would tell them, and they were like, "So you're like a plant?" Like they would literally say that.
Uh,
Like, "Yes, yep,
yep.
I'm a plant."
I'm a plant. Good job. You figured it out. Was kind of part of that feeling of pressure just from witnessing like couples everywhere. Because I know for me, like I feel like I because I've never been in a relationship. And so I feel really weird about that because I'm like, well, I'm 20 and I've never been in a relationship. And then I think about like comments from like my grandparents like, "Oh, you're so handsome. When are you seeing anyone?" And I'm like, "Are you seeing any
Yes.
girls, bud?" I'm like, funny
No.
thing, I'm not. No, actually." And I love my grandparents, but you know, not a conversation I really want to have.
Yeah. And like just like it's everywhere in media, you
Yes.
know. Like there is not like only in recent years there's any Disney movies where like the princesses don't end up with someone at the end.
Yeah.
And there's also all those shows that like they show like the sad single cat lady and like the spinsters or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you are single, you are lonely and sad.
Yep. You can't be happy.
You cannot. You can only be happy if you are in a committed heterosexual relationship.
Yeah. I feel like that also applies most heavily towards women. Like you said, you see the like crazy cat lady that's single. Like that is like when I think of like single people, that is the stereotype that I think of. I never really think of like anyone else except for maybe the sad gay man that's looking for love. Those are the two
Yeah.
things that I think of.
Well, the association for like a single woman versus a single man,
Mm-hmm.
and these are like very binary terms, but you
Yes.
know, but like single woman is like you're sad, you have cats,
Mm-hmm.
and your apartment is gross because of your cats. And then like the single man is like, ooh, he's a bachelor
Yes,
and he's like
exactly.
playing the fields and like, you know, it's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I also had like a really good example of a relationship because my parents are just like they're just the goal of everything. Like they're just so good.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, yeah, I want that. Like
Uh-huh.
I want a person that I can rely on
Yeah.
and like share everything with, but like that doesn't have to be in a romantic way. I'm
Yeah.
learning.
Shocker. That can
Yeah.
be with a friend as
You can
well.
have just a really good bestie.
Exactly. Besties till the end.
Pros before pros, am I right?
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree. Because again, the fear of being perceived, right? Like
Yes.
sometimes I think about like, you know, what does my dad think? Like the fact that I've never been in a relationship, is he like, oh, that kid's gay? Like, what is he thinking? Like, I don't know what he's thinking, or does he just think
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
like, I don't know. I'm constantly like, I'm just I'm waiting for like that one comment to slip out and be like, oh, I'm not prepared.
Yeah. And then you have to have that whole conversation.
Yes. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, I can we postpone this? I have a thing.
Actually, oh, would you look at the time?
Yeah, there's a thing that I got to go to.
Yeah, I have an appointment.
Um
It's very important.
yeah. That's cool. Speaking of appointments, after being on a wait list for like probably 4 or 5 months now, I finally
Mhm.
have an appointment with a therapist coming up.
Yes!
For the first time in my
Yay,
life.
Ryan! Hell yeah. Therapy is so good for anyone.
It is. But for a long time, I was like, I don't need therapy. I don't need to be a pussy.
Nah.
Because I also, like, I think I was in, like, kind of a, like, strange position where I generally feel like I have a good understanding of my like feelings and of like where my like depression and whatnot comes from. Like,
Hmm.
because I think about it a lot, not a lot, but I used to think about it a lot, and I would be like, all right, where does this come from? Like, where, like, what is happening here? And so,
Yeah.
like, like, you know, I knew it, so I was like, I know what's happening to me. I don't need to talk to anyone.
I don't need someone to tell me what's going on. I already know.
Yeah. But as after like doing the podcast, I learned, oh, it helps to just straight up talk about. Like
Yeah.
just talking about things makes you feel so much better. Even if it's to no one. Just like talking out loud
Yeah,
can help
literally.
so much.
Are you like one of those people who like if you're home alone, you don't say like you don't make any noise, like you don't say anything out loud?
If I'm home alone, I'm constantly people would probably think that I'm crazy.
Okay, same.
Like the amount that I talk to myself in weird voices, you know,
Yes.
the whole everything.
Yeah, or you just sing like the same line
Yes.
of a song like over and over and over and over again
Uh-huh.
for like literal hours. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. After watching Stranger Things, it was running up that hill like that
Oh my
one
God.
line.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, all right.
Mhm.
And if anyone like came in like just came in the house, I don't know who it would be, like my grandparents visiting or something, they'd just be like, "Are you all right?" Be like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know what you heard. That was like the radio or something.
that was probably Roxy. I think that was my dog. Yeah."
I've had people like walk in on me while I was like loudly talking to myself.
Uh-huh.
Like it's horrible. It's the worst.
It's so embarrassing.
I'm thinking of specifically a time like at work
Uh-huh.
because I work nights and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only person there
Mm-hmm.
usually. But like I was like, I'm supposed to be alone in this
Yeah.
big ass facility. So I was talking to myself as I do.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how like I watched this video of like uh a YouTuber critiquing like how to escape kidnapper hacks or whatever from Troom Troom,
Uh-huh.
that cooking
Yeah.
channel.
Yes.
And like they gave like an actual helpful tip of something of how like you should attack your attacker in order like you should try to kind of kill them so that
Yeah.
you can get away.
Yeah. I
And the
agree.
YouTuber was like, you can't do that. Like, you can't just kill someone. And I was like ranting out loud about how, like, yes, you should. You should
Yes.
try to kill them because they're trying to kill you. And, like, that's what I was saying out loud. One of my coworkers walked in and he scared the shit out of me. It was horrible. But, anyways,
Oh, I love it.
yeah. Like, probably the worst possible thing that I could be saying out loud as
Yeah.
someone
As
comes in.
someone comes in, like, no, you should kill them. Like,
Yeah,
what?
like
Hello?
literally talking about murder.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. I just
like
gotta grab something from the
yeah,
back.
I was just gonna lock up. Uh,
Yeah. I guess speaking of embarrassing things, and if you have nothing to say, that's fine. But I always ask everyone, as you might know, do you have like any, not necessarily embarrassing, but like childhood stories or memories of any kind that like might have been like a sign towards something, or like maybe something that helped you realize after the fact, like, oh, that makes
um,
sense.
oh, well, like it happened a lot where like you know how a lot of pop songs are about sex,
Uh-huh.
and there was so many of them that I just like it just went right over my head. Had no idea that they were singing about sex until
Uh-huh.
someone, specifically Allie, was
Uh-huh.
usually the one to inform me
Mm-hmm.
because I said something like, "What is this song even about? It makes no sense." And she was like, "They're talking about fucking, Maddie." And I was like, "Oh, of course they
Oh.
are."
Yeah, makes
Like
sense.
Cake on the Beach,
Uh-huh.
that fucking song. I was
Yep.
like, "They're just eating cake on the beach." Like that's
Yeah.
genuinely what I thought because I was like, "They're using the word cake.
Yeah.
Why would that mean anything else?"
Who wouldn't love some delicious chocolate cake on the beach?
And there's that song, Whistle,
Mm-hmm.
which is about blowjobs apparently.
Yes, of
Didn't
course.
what didn't think that. Just thought it was about whistling.
Yeah. Just casual whistling. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Just a song about whistling a little tune.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was very ace of me
Uh-huh.
thinking that.
Also, isn't the meme like ace people love garlic bread?
Yeah, garlic bread and cake is also a
Is
thing.
that true? Do you love those things?
I mean, yeah, who doesn't?
Okay, good. I mean, like, yeah, literally everyone does,
Yeah.
but like, not to enforce the stereotype, but
But also, I am more of a pie person personally than cake.
same.
Pie is so fucking good.
Pie is
It's
great.
way better.
I agree. The only type of cake that I really want is like a rich chocolate cake. Give me any pie and I'll be happy, you know?
Yeah, any of them.
Literally any.
Like, yeah, rich chocolate cake or like ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake, yeah, but that's just ice cream. Like, come on.
Right. Like, that's barely cake anyway.
It's just ice cream in the shape of a cake with some icing. And if anyone wants to debate that, go straight to hell.
Yeah. Go to the comments. I won't read it because you're wrong.
Well, I will read it, but I'll reply and I'll say you're wrong.
You're wrong and you're dumb.
You're wrong and you're dumb. The end of story, period.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now that we've talked about the things that we do know, Shall we talk about the things that we don't know?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about how you're thinking you might be aromantic. And
Okay.
also, can you explain what that is in case anyone doesn't know what that is?
Yes. So similar to how asexual is you don't have little to no sexual attraction to any gender. Aromantic is the same, but for romantic attraction
Mm-hmm.
for any gender. Should I just go into it?
Yeah.
All right. So what happened? This is a recent development. It started in like December.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was feeling lonely and impulsive.
Uh-huh.
So so I joined Hinge. Like it's a pretty wholesome dating site, I have to say. Like most of the people on there are pretty nice.
Yeah, compared to other dating sites.
Compared to Tinder,
Compare it to
my
Tinder.
experiences were better.
Uh-huh.
And I joined and I like almost immediately matched with this guy. I'm gonna call him Jay. He had a
Okay.
J in me, as like a lot of problematic men do, I feel like. Oh.
So true.
But like I liked him a lot at first and we were talking for a while and we had a lot in common. I was like, all right. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're vibing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went on one date in person.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the vibes just felt wrong.
Mm.
Like in person. Like he came off really well, like in text form.
Mm-hmm.
But then in person, it was just like he seemed like he already liked me like way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very like I got manic pixie dream girls by him.
Uh-huh.
Like you know that phenomenon.
Yeah.
He just like kept saying things about how like I've never met anyone like you before,
Oh.
and
Oh.
like literally like you're not like other girls, like that whole shit. And he just kept saying things that I was just like, we've known each other for like maybe a month.
Yeah, this is the first date in person, right?
This is the first time I've ever seen you in real life. And like it just seemed like everything he was doing was to make me it felt manipulative of
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, it
he's
sounds
trying
manipulative.
he's trying to like pull me
Yeah.
in like a fake way rather than him actually liking me. It just seemed like he attached and like latched onto me and
Mm-hmm.
decided like you are going to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I felt like the vibes were kind of off on that first date.
Mm.
But then like we kept talking and I was literally just going to force myself to date this person. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, I'm lonely. He's like okay. Like
That's the best descriptor you could have given. He's okay, you
yeah, he's
know?
all right. Like I don't know. He's into the same nerdy shit I am. Like it'll probably be fine like once I actually start dating him.
Uh-huh.
So I just kept going and then we went on our second date.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was so we went to like this diner where
Mm-hmm.
the tables are so small. Like
Uh-huh.
we're so close to each other.
Mm.
Like across from him. And I was telling a story and I was using like hand motions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he literally like as I am talking, he just like as he's staring into my eyes, he just like reaches across the table and like grabs my hand
Ah!
as I'm talking. And I
Oh.
was just like, okay, oh.
Oh,
Like in the middle of me talking, dude. Like what the I anyway, so if you're listening, don't do that.
I'm actually this that's like something you would see in like a romance movie that is
Yes.
really bad.
Yeah. Like it just seemed like everything he was doing seemed like, well, I saw this in a rom-com once and it worked.
Yes. Yeah.
So like she's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Which maybe someone else would.
But
I don't
most
know.
people probably not, if I had to guess.
Yeah, like like while I am talking
Yeah.
and in the middle of a story and I'm moving my hands around
Mm-hmm.
and he grabbed it with both of his hands like cupped
Mm-hmm.
around mine.
That's exactly how I was picturing it. Yep.
Yes. And I was so embarrassed because I was like, people are like, the waiters are like seeing this. They have to, like, I know if I was working there and I witnessed that happen, I would be like, oh no. You know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I was just sitting there so embarrassed. And I literally said, like, out loud after he did that, I was like, oh, I guess we're holding hands now. Like, I said that out loud. And he still didn't get that I didn't want to be holding
Oh
hands.
my god.
And so that was like immediately, that was the first activity of the date, and that happened.
Oh
So
boy.
the rest of the time was really soured after that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then after that date, this was a really savage moment for me, I have to say.
You
We were like,
pop
yeah,
off,
I
queen.
absolutely popped off.
Girl, boss it up.
Not to toot my own horn, but we were like in the Uber home, and he was saying shit of like how I was like made for him,
Ew.
and he was like waiting for me this whole time,
Ew.
and I finally came to him, and I like in the Uber in front of our Uber driver, I was like, I existed before you. I was not made for you. I'm a person of my own being. Please don't put me on a pedestal like that. It's really weird.
That's a great response. You really did pop off.
I popped off.
Oh my god.
And like even after that, he still didn't get it. He still thought that I was like compliment fishing somehow.
Ew.
So eventually, after he kept saying shit like that over text, I blocked him on everything.
Good.
Bye, Jay.
Bye, Jay.
But yeah, basically, and like during that whole experience, I read this one like YA ass novel called Loveless, which is a book about, it's a great book. I loved it. But like it's about a character who's like going into college, and she realizes she's aro ace. And it's by an aro ace author, Alice Oseman.
I've heard of her before, yeah.
Yeah. She has a show like on Netflix. But yeah, it was a really good book, but it was very like YA novel. And I knew that I would relate to the ace parts, but I didn't think I would relate as much as I did to the arrow parts. And I was like, oh, interesting. I never thought of it that way. It's just like the way that she was describing it, because you could see into, it was from like her perspective, so you could see like in her thoughts and her mind and whatever. And it was describing how like someone tried to kiss her in the book, and she just described like feeling so like hot and anxious and like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, no, get away from me, you're too close. And I was just like, is that not what being kissed is supposed to feel like? Is it not? Is it? And like, it hasn't been like that every time I have been kissed, I want to say. Thank God that Jay did not try to kiss me.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because it would have been like that. I just never considered that I was aro because I had dated 2 people already. And I was like, I've had crushes my entire life, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've had crushes on boys this whole time. There's no way that I could be aro. So I just didn't even consider it for so long. I also, do you know Jaden Animations?
Yes.
YouTube?
I saw that she made a video about that.
Yes. That fucked me up. Like, 'cause she, like, the way that she described how she just, like, literally picked a person at random to have a crush on, I was like, oh my god, I think I do that. Oh my god, I think that's what I've been doing this whole time. And, like, I just thought that that's what having a crush was. And so, like, I was like, oh no. And all of that was happening while everything with Jay was happening. So I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And like, I was just thinking back on like all my crushes that I had had from elementary school. I had a crush on the one like popular man because there was 14 people in my grade.
Yeah.
There was like literally one eligible guy who everyone had a crush on.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'll have a crush on him. And then like in middle school, I literally looked through the yearbook, picked someone at random, like who I thought was like kind of aesthetically cute. Other times, like with the people I dated, who they are both lovely people. I want to make that very clear. They are lovely people. I am good friends with one of them still. And I liked them a lot. Like I loved them. But they liked me first. And I realized that they liked me first. And then I was like, yeah, I could totally date them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could totally have a crush on them back. They are very likable, nice, funny people who are
Mm-hmm.
cute. And I was like, that's what a crush is. And it also just makes me feel like a shitty person because I was like, was I like lying to them this whole fucking time?
Mm-hmm.
And like, they don't deserve that. Yeah, just reevaluating everything and all of my actions and my whole life has been fun.
Yeah, sounds fun. Well,
Yeah.
here's what I'll say about that, all of it. First of all, uh, I hope you don't feel like a shitty person anymore about that because, at the time you didn't know. Like, you weren't lying on purpose, And pretty much every queer person will go through a moment of questioning. And
Yeah.
at the time, you didn't know. And that's so it's not your fault at all. So there's no reason for you to feel bad about that. And number two, I'm going to take something from the last episode that really stuck with me when I talked to Jana is she was talking about how it's not what's in your past that matters, it's how you feel in the now, like currently, that matters. Because she had also like had relationships with boys in the past, and so that's kind
Yeah.
of what kept her from feeling like she was a lesbian. So similar to how you like had crushes and you had dated people doesn't mean that you can't be aromantic, especially like now in the present once you've kind of learned more and thought more about it.
You're so right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not right, she was right. I'm just stealing what she said and putting it into my own
Yeah.
words.
Well, I listened to that episode
Uh-huh.
and I also, yeah, like I thought that was interesting that like everything is so fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So like you just kind of have to go with the flow the best you can.
Yeah, no, it's things constantly change, like we're always evolving, not necessarily in ways that are, based around sexuality or romantic or whatever attraction, blah, blah, blah. But we're
Hmm.
constantly changing and evolving. And if that doesn't prove that, gender and sexuality are fluid in any way, then I don't know what does because things
True.
change. Things change. We change. Humans change. If you'd asked me like 5 years ago if I thought that I wasn't a boy, like fully, I would have been like, "Ew, no, what?
Yeah. No.
I'm a man." I'm so yeah, I think it's great. Also, thank you very much, like for coming on and talking about this because, again, like asexuality and like even like especially aromantic asexuality is something that you really don't see very often around you.
No.
It's not in media or anything because romance, I think, is probably, if I had to guess, it's at least in the top three like genres of anything ever, media
Yeah.
wise. And so like when that's constantly being like thrown at you and pushed down your throat, it gets a little hard to realize that maybe I don't feel that way. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
feel romantic attraction. Maybe I don't feel sexual attraction.
Like that's an option to
Yeah,
not feel that.
yeah, and it's like health class never taught you that that wasn't an option because they were too focused on being like, all right, cis heterosexuals, here's how you
Yeah.
don't get pregnant and don't transmit STIs. Uh,
Yeah.
they never were like, okay, just so you know, here are these other things that are real and valid. They're not like,
Yeah.
and if you aren't interested in sex, here's what that could possibly mean for you.
That means you're diseased. You have like some sort of hormonal
Yeah,
imbalance.
they're like, here's what's happening. Everyone feels sexual attraction. No, actually,
Mhm.
that's not true.
Like I feel like asexual people are so especially like outcasted because like
Mm-hmm.
we're not straight people, so we don't fit in with straight people.
Yeah.
But then like a lot of queer people also don't accept aces
Mm-hmm.
as queer people either because that's something that most people have just never experienced or even
Mm-hmm.
considered. They say like you're a straight person looking for attention
Yeah.
or like which I'm not. Again, don't believe me.
Exactly. Don't perceive me, please.
Or you're just like a celibate who like
Mm-hmm.
you're just choosing to not have sex, that's not a sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you're just too ugly to get sex, which
Oh.
like not to toot my own horn, but I'm hot as fuck and I could get it anytime I wanted if I wanted it. So
Absolutely.
and also there's a model, Yasmin Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
Like her literal job is to be like conventionally attractive, and
Mm-hmm.
she's an Arrow Ace influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Get fucked, gatekeepers. Get the
yeah,
hell out of my swamp.
fuck you.
Yeah, no, the gatekeeping is one, like, gatekeeping is something that I never would have expected, like, my younger self. I would not have expected, like, going into the queer community, like, the amount of gatekeeping that there is.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's disgusting because, we've all experienced something that we can each relate to in one way or another. And the
Yes.
fact that you're going to tell someone how they should or shouldn't, like, live or identify is absolutely insane to me.
And it's none of your business.
It's not your business. Get
Like,
the
why
fuck
do you
out.
care?
Yeah. Again, I think everyone in the queer community needs to remember, I mean, not even just the queer community, but everyone needs to remember that sexuality derived specifically from sex. I know that that meaning has changed a little bit, especially like in common language and how we talk about it now, but sexuality legitimately came from sex and it was used to describe straight people. It was
Yeah.
originally used to describe straight people and their sexual acts.
Yes.
So, sexuality also relates to asexual people because that is a sexuality as well.
Yeah.
They're just as valid.
All aces, you're valid.
It's true, you're all valid.
You exist.
And I love you platonically. So, the way that I've been feeling, because I've also been questioning for a little bit now, like if I'm ace or not. And I don't know what I am. I know that I feel romantic attraction. Like I want to be in a romantic relationship. So I know I'm not aromantic.
Good start.
But yeah, good start. But like the way that, and I literally did research. Research. I put that in quotes because it was very basic. Yeah, I did like one Google search. um, I literally typed into Google. There's something. It was something along the lines of like, I feel sexual attraction, but I don't want to act on it.
Mm.
Like even that doesn't really describe how I feel perfectly.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to describe things in words because you can't really describe
It
a
is.
feeling in
No,
words.
feelings are so hard to describe. And when you're trying to put it into like a Google search, like
Uh-huh.
they're not gonna know what you're trying to get.
Exactly. But like for a while I thought that maybe I was demisexual,
Hmm.
which some people consider to be under the asexual umbrella. Some people don't, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. If
I
whatever
would say
may
it's in the spectrum.
yeah, whatever makes you feel happy, there you go. That's all I care
Yeah.
about. But like I considered like maybe I was demisexual because like normally I would like develop a crush on like one specific person, um, and then like it would especially ramp up like once I got to know them well.
Yeah.
And like only then was I like, oh, okay, I want to be in a relationship with you. Like I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone that I didn't know well, or at least I wouldn't want to, like I would be willing to be in a relationship, but like I wouldn't want to like think like do anything until I knew you
Yeah.
well.
Like
Um,
no hookups and
yes,
like stuff like that.
yeah, like that's not something that I'm interested in at all. Like I've
Mhm.
talked to like friends who are like, I could hook you up with someone. Like I don't want that. I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it, but I that's not really how I feel.
That
Um,
sounds like hookups sounds so scary to me.
it does. It's so
Like
scary.
I know I'm ace, but like
Yeah.
damn, how do y'all
How does
how do y'all be
anyone?
doing that? Like you just meet someone, like a random person at a bar,
Uh
you
huh.
go to their house, their apartment,
Yeah.
to a place you've never been before with a person you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
how anyone does that.
absolutely boggles my mind.
So I was like, I may be demisexual, but also like I feel like that's not really it either, because like sometimes I look at someone, I'm like, damn, you're fucking hot. I don't know, it's weird. But then I was like, all right. And I know like one of the terms that I could like use to describe myself, which would work, is gray sexual or gray sexuality. It's basically like people that identify with asexuality but don't feel like the term asexual fits them perfectly. So,
Yeah,
like, gray sexual is basically just like you are there in the asexual umbrella, but you don't really know like where specifically, and it doesn't fit you perfectly. So I'm like, that's simple enough, sure. But then after my Google search,
hmm.
um, even this I don't feel like describes me perfectly, but there were some things that really fucking hit home. I was like, oh god. Um,
Oh shit.
I found something called autochorysexual.
Ooh, I've never heard of that.
Neither had I. I know that there are a lot of like asexual like terms like in the
Yeah,
umbrella.
there's so many.
There's so many. But this is the one that I found. It's spelled auto like automobile and then CHOR I sexual. And to read off of whatever site that I used, I think it was like an asexual like Wikipedia page or something.
Mhm.
It simply says a disconnection between oneself and a sexual target slash object of arousal may involve sexual fantasies or arousal in response to erotica or pornography, but lacking any desire to be a participant in the sexual activities therein. So
Ooh.
basically, you can feel sexual attraction still, but typically when you feel sexual attraction, you're not feeling it as yourself.
Like you don't want to be involved.
Yes, like you're like, I find this person sexually attractive, but like when I picture that sexual attraction, I'm not in the picture. Or at least
Yeah.
it's from like a third perspective where you're kind of looking at yourself from a different perspective. You're not like looking through your own eyes. It's like
Yeah.
from another worldly perspective.
That's so interesting.
And I think that that is particularly like that part is what hit me the most because I think if I had to guess, because again, I like to think about these things.
Hmm.
If I had to guess, I think that that came from most, at least partially from like my body dysmorphia, because it's a lot better now, but I used to have severe body dysmorphia issues where I didn't like my own appearance, I didn't like myself, I didn't like my body, and so I think that
Hmm.
partially, whenever I felt like sexual attraction, I would be like, okay, cool, but not me as I am in real life right now at this moment
Yeah.
because I don't like that.
Yeah, like you can't imagine yourself in like a sexy scenario
Mm-hmm.
because you don't feel sexy.
Exactly. And so like and then I thought about cuz like I've had dreams not where I've done sexual things. I mean, I'm sure I have, but
Hmm.
I've had dreams where like I've been in like a relationship before, but like in that relationship, I didn't look like me. I was skinny. I was more average looking white boy.
Yeah.
But like it was still my personality and my voice, but like my body was different, and so it's just like it was really interesting for me to think about how like that disconnection between yourself and the person that you're attracted to. So I feel like that fits me fairly well. I don't think it's perfect, and I don't think
Mhm.
really anything can ever really be perfect, but I think that that's pretty good.
Yeah. And it's also tough because like humans, like we weren't created to like have to have all these labels
Yes.
for things. Like we just kind of exist in whatever way we are.
Yeah.
And then people centuries ago decided that we needed to like put ourselves into little boxes,
Mm-hmm.
which is why there's so many terms
Mm-hmm.
because there's not ever like one type of person that fits perfectly into this box and this box, you know? Yeah, just finding the one that feels the best and the
Mm-hmm.
most accurate to you is the best that you can do.
Yeah, and that's what I did with the term pansexual when I was like, I'm pansexual, is because like bisexual can also mean the same thing for me, but I just
Yeah.
liked how it sounded better. So I was like, that's the one I want.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, with that being said, do you have any other thoughts on your asexuality or being aromantic?
Well, this is kind of not a serious thought, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying I wish the colors for the ace flag were a little bit more colorful. I'm kind of sad that the colors are dark purple, black, gray, and white. I would like it to be something a little bit more fun.
uh, yes, I couldn't agree
Who
more.
decided the colors? The pan flag is so fun.
Right? I love the pan
Ugh,
flag.
like it's such good colors. I'm so sad that my colors are so depressing. But anyways, that's just the
Anyways,
thought that I have had
uh-huh.
since I discovered asexuality, but it's not anything serious. I just thought I'd mention that.
No, it's serious. We need to change it now.
Yeah.
Right
Who
now.
decided the colors? I would like
Who?
to have.
Which asshole thought that that was a good idea?
I know. It makes us all very emo seeming, which some of us are,
Yeah, I mean, of
and love
course.
love to y'all, but
Yes, yes, of course.
I'm a rainbow ass bitch. So I would like some more color involved.
More color, please.
And also change the stereotype to pie instead of cake.
Yes, please. Please make it pie. So much better. Fight me. Do you still do art? Because you did art, right? Like I'm not misremembering.
Yes. I haven't really done art in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but I still love art.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm ever gonna truly just stop. Leaving high school and like leaving art classes
Yeah.
where I like had to do art for like a grade, and now I don't have to do art at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to like get the motivation. So yeah, I haven't in a while. Like I'm not gonna give it up.
Yeah. Once you love art, you never stop loving art, I feel.
Yeah. And I've been doing it since I was like 2.
Yeah.
So it's part of my legacy.
Part of my legacy is going to
Yeah.
be left behind. You're going to see
Mhm.
great paintings of me.
Ah, yes. You'll find my really bad Legend of Korra fan art from me. And they'll be like, this is a masterpiece.
I agree. I haven't seen it, but I can almost guarantee that it's a
Oh,
masterpiece.
you should. It's so good. Do you know what Legend of Korra is?
I do. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender pretty much right after I graduated high school or during senior year of high school. I can't remember.
Hmm.
For the first time because I didn't even know that it was a thing really. And then my friend was like, "You need to watch it." I'm like, "All right." I watched it, and it was
It's
great.
so good.
And then I saw that Legend of Korra was a thing. I was like, I should probably watch that too. But that also means a lot of
You
dedication.
should.
So I will at some point. But
Yeah, it's hard to get into new shows,
yeah,
but like it's really good, and I love the Avatar universe so much.
they're making. Did you hear breaking news? As of the recording of this, of like yesterday, I think they're making 3 new animated films,
Yes, I did hear about that.
and they're following the adult versions of the gang.
Yes. I want to know if we get to find out what exactly happened to Zuko's mom.
Oh, I don't
'Cause
want to know that.
they never fucking go into it, even in Legend of Korra.
Ugh.
Like they don't. I I need to know.
That was that like that ending in Last Airbender where like Zuko like something he goes to like see his mom or something. I don't remember. But like
Yeah.
that ending, I was like, I want to see
No,
the mother,
I feel
please.
unsatisfied.
Give me the mother right
Yeah,
now.
this story has not been wrapped up fully.
Yes, because of me losing my mom, anything mom related in any media, I'm like,
Yes.
I want it. Give it to
Yep.
me.
Gimme.
Give me now, please.
Hope we get something with that.
Oh, I hope so. Well, I guess this brings us towards the end of the episode. So, as you know, I always ask, is there anything else that you have left to say to the audience, advice, whatever, or is there any questions that you have for me to close us out?
To the audience, I guess just like evaluate your options, because
Yes.
life can be whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a relationship, you can not. You can
Mm-hmm.
have a QPR, which is a great option, a
Mm-hmm.
queer platonic relationship,
Yes.
which we didn't go into that, but like do some research.
For sure.
You can, yeah, so like you can make your life whatever you want it to be, and you are valid in whatever decisions feel right to you, and fuck the haters.
So true. One final girl boss moment to end it out.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
absolutely girl bossing it up.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm sure the audience will appreciate it greatly, as I know I do. And if they don't, get out.
Fuck the haters.
Fuck
I
the
just said
haters. Fuck the exactly. Fuck the
it.
haters. No one cares. And with that being said, a thank you to Masha L over on the Patreon once again. This has been the Kinda Queer Podcast, hosted by a couple of Kinda Queer folks. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
From what I understand, it's basically just asexuality. How?
Ow.
I had a stroke, I think.
What the fuck was I saying? I have ADHD.
Uh-huh. I can relate.
Yeah.